Hey, amigos, how you guys doing? Hope everything is well. It's gonna be a quick recap video. I have a lot of videos that I guess still gotta find an editor and um, get all that jazz done, but just gonna try to make it a relatively habit for myself, and if it helps anybody else, I'm gonna go over tickers that ran today, what I would keep an eye on, what kind of behavior, if I'm seeing anything, trends and patterns. So that's what the video is going to be about. If you like it, um, subscribe, thumbs up, and click the notification bell on. It it helps with the algorithm. So let's get right into it. So I'm kind of testing a few things. So one of them is this was my morning watch list or clear how I trade in the morning. I try to put it out, a quick version. This is day one, day two. Day one is usually stocks that are the first day running, or if it's a squeeze. And day twos are usually it has squeezed up and I feel like the backside is in, and if there's pops or something, I can short. So I'm gonna start. I'm kind of doing this freshly, so let's just get into it. SRP2. So based on this, as you can see at 8 a.m., I was short bias on it. And the reason for that was uh, I felt the shorts were. So why did I think that? So this was in the morning. This was the high 8. And I felt often there has been a trend that it blows up shorts and then it fades. That's what's been happening. So I thought that's what would happen. And I was relatively correct. So it squeezes into the after hours, into 10, 11. In a perfect world, this would have gapped up at 10, 11, 12, and then faded. It did something similar here. So it is weak pre-market, and it washes from 9 a.m. The bottom is at 10, goes to 725, and then it stays above VWAP, and it goes. So what are the critical times? So one thing I have to keep a note on is pre-market behavior to current. Pre-market is this, but this is after hours. So there's something here. This is weakness. It's indicating that there's not many shorts, not many buyers interested. It's going to fade. But somebody is there. And even when it's squeezed above, it's showing weakness. So this is an iffy situation. What are the scenarios? If it gaps up again, a perfect scenario is it gaps above 950, 1050, 12. Like, so 950s were the highs, 950 or 11. It gaps up above that and then would be looking for a fade. The fade is because it's not just that it's extended, it seems like each time it pushes, there's not enough juice for continuation. This is not a company that does a lot of dilution, but and they're cash flow positive, and it's like they make 300,000 a month. So yeah, that's what this is. So each push seeing a weakness, two scenarios. Gaps up into $11.12, then it fades off. Or scenario number two is that it stays below 850. I'm going to draw a line here. Draw a line below 820s. If it stays below 820 or 8, then we're good. Let me see the hourly chart. Yeah, so 870. 820 to 870 is key. If it stays below 820s, 8. Look for a short continuation fade. Potentially, I think, into this or this. So that's what that is. Sprt. The next one is Btbt. This has been a super duper tricky stock. So this is what the daily is. It's a Bitcoin name. I think there's a direct correlation with Bitcoin, and as Bitcoin is moving, Bitcoin mining, and as Amazon saying that they're going to accept Bitcoin, this is kind of a big deal. They said they're not going to do it this year, the next year, so that's why this is moving. So this is the daily chart. The high was 941. It broke it by 5 cents. But the behavior is really choppy. So this is when Amazon's like, nope, we're not going to do it this year. So it gets the shorts in, traps them, looks weak, traps again, looks weak, and then doing this. So this is a name, in my opinion. It's definitely an avoid. It's way too tricky. Sometimes knowing what not to trade for me, and my recommendation, anybody that's following, and I imagine you're learning, is it's better to, even if you make money on something like this, in my opinion, unless you can find a clear edge, it's not worth trading this. It's too complicated. It's not clear. This is weakness, goes below, spikes, washes, doesn't bounce here, doesn't make a higher low, doesn't continue, breaks the high of the day, and then it washes, and then it goes back up. So what would be clean? Honestly, with Bitcoin, I'm not even sure. If it stays below 7, yeah, that would be the only way. Then you could just, because it has options and whatever, you could just short the calls and time decay. Yeah. Okay. So Btbt is generally an avoid. NFI. Let's look at the daily chart. I didn't trade this today because I wasn't a fan. I felt it would be tricky. It was in my watch list, as you guys could see. I was short bias on this. NFI has an ATM, but it's old and it's not the typical turd. Btbt, I had a feeling it would be a tricky name, So I was like, just wait for a trend and then go with it. But even trend, it went against the trend relatively. Yeah, or I said 950. Jeez, I should have listened to myself. I was like, if it pushes, no, I thought in the morning if it pushes 950 rejects, then I could short it. It did that, but midday. So let's look at INFI. This one I didn't look. A tricky one. Okay, so I'm looking at okay. The high is at 10:15. It rejects. It looks weak in the morning. The low is at 940. Position to 10. Weak. I would have shorted these. Or I would have shorted this too. But it's kind of tough. More this. This would have been better. But I would have considered that as a short too. Into an extension. There's capitulation of volume. Capitulation of volume at this candle. So here's a behavior that I have to keep in mind. So it does capitulation volume at 9:57. People have a short here on the same capitulation, and they're saying they're going to use 9:58 or 61 as a stop, and I bet that's a 61. Yeah, there you go. So what I noticed from here, somebody here was stop hunting. So whoever shorted this capitulation, they're like, yo, that's not us. 100% my short would have been at 861 or above 858, 258. So stop hunted and faded. This would have been these two would have been short areas, being not biased, maybe risking off of here. And if I definitely wouldn't have covered it all, but so I covered here. So here I'm looking at first behavior is they're pushing one step higher. What that means is wherever the high is, they do one more push. So I'll keep that in mind. And then it chops below and it makes a higher low. So be wary of this. This name probably an avoid as well. What it actually would not be an avoid if this gaps into like 408 or does some crazy blows up the shorts, then I would be interested for a short because then you have the longs that have accumulated, the sell, and then also the shorts were blown. It's a good indication of play. And yeah, I think that's about it. What I traded today was SRPT, nope, SPRT. I was short in the morning. I added to my short here, and then I was shorting the options. Short here, short here. I think I covered some here, reshorted here, and at this point I hedged. So I was short the calls and then I went long the equity here. And I think that's about it. I am net neutral at the moment. I'm seeing how it reacts tomorrow. So whether it goes up or down, my stock, I'm delta hedged. So I'm going to see how that works out. That's all. Hopefully if you guys made it this far, you liked it, click the thumbs up button. I appreciate you guys.